The price of the device is just one factor consumers consider when they buy a smartphone. Features are also important. Here to talk about the industry and where it's heading is David Alan Grier. He studies this industry globally and writes a blog called Errant Hashtag on computer.org. He's also an associate professor at George Washington University. Your take on what's going on in India, is it a ripoff?
Well, this phone, as we see it, probably is. I don't know the exact details, but there's a lot of evidence that this is not a real thing that will have a real life in India.
But talk to us, because you visited with me a while back, talking about the importance of smartphones
and there's no question that in India this is going to have a transformative effect, that it gives communication to the villages, that it embraces people who are not literate, who have to use symbols and signs and voice to do it. The Indian government, or part of the Indian government, part working with the grid, is trying to find ways to ensure that everyone has enough power to run a fan, run a light, run a hot plate, and run a cell phone charger. And that's how important it is.
We started the segment by talking about Xiaomi, and you said you met the CEO. Tell us that story.
So the Chinese Computing, the National Chinese Computing Congress. And I met him as a representative of an American group, and it was very nice, he was very pleasant, and then I turned around and every young engineer in China was there waiting to get a selfie with him. He was a rock star.
Rock star indeed.
Oh, yeah.
You know, price, obviously a big factor. In China, an iPhone last year cost on average more than $700. A Huawei phone, a little more than $200. We're talking about Xiaomi. How much of a concern is that to Apple moving forward, that there are these competitors perhaps in China that...
Well, they are, but Apple has never tried to completely own a market. They have certain segments that they want, and they price their phones accordingly.
Well, we have a graphic about the smartphone industry, and I want to show it to our viewers. In 2009, about 173 million smartphones were shipped around the world. You're looking at that graph as it goes up. In 2015, 1.4 billion. Where are all these phones going, and who are these emerging consumers?
They're the global population. The cell phone is rapidly becoming the dominant high-tech device that everyone has, and that it is important to modern life as water and sewage, as electricity, as roads.
And as you mentioned, in China, it's important enough that they put that into part of the equation. How does it change things?
It allows individuals to live a bigger life, that you can live a life where you are now in touch with people and institutions that you don't see on your daily life, that live in the nation's capital, that live outside the country. And that ability is powerful, and it transforms society, allows them to think outside themselves and their own limitations.
Here in the United States, you travel around, you see everybody with one. And I was mentioning to you, my daughter lived in Guyana for a time, and very little energy in some of these villages, and yet you would see children
with cell phones.
With cell phones.
Yes.
Is it just going to be everywhere?
It's going to be everywhere.
And the impact overall?
And the impact overall, it connects people and it allows them, you know, if you will, the public is a bunch of individuals, but what's important is the transactions, the interactions between people. It strengthens ties with people who are like you, who think like you, have the same interests, who can help your goals and you can help theirs. The same is true for businesses and institutions. It strengthens their ability to act on a broader scale.
So what we're going to see moving forward is everywhere in the world like this, I guess.
Everywhere in the world just like that.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.